Oh man, Colin Liddell is at it again, and I have to duly report this to y'all. So the title is "Do the Chav Riots Have Kremlin Fingerprints?" By Daniel Barsh. That's just one of Colin Liddell's pseudonyms. Just for a bit of context here, in 2022, Liddell sent me this stuff, like saying, "Ha, Andy, you've been had. Pizzagate is a fraud. It's Russian disinfo." And for evidence, he sent me something that was thrown together by the New York Times. and moreover, it was something where they didn't show how Pizzagate was a fraud in any way. They just said that it was, and that was supposed to be proof in itself. And so I was like, all right, we're trusting the New York Times now. Interesting. Well, as we'll see from this article, Colin continues to be enamored of the legacy media, the neo-lib media, and he thinks that there's quite a bit of evidence that the unrest in Great Britain is because of Russia. So he begins, the recent riots in the UK had various discontents and causes behind them. Blah, blah, blah. But there is also evidence that points to the riots being sparked off and then boosted by Kremlin operatives. Yes, of course, the Kremlin is behind it. Putin's behind it. Okay. So, key part of the story was the misidentification of the Southport stabber, who we now know was a Rwandan of Catholic background. Oh man, he was Rwandan, yes. But I mean, I had never heard anything otherwise, and the yeah, I mean, these were reports early on that he was a Muslim, and here's Colin on why this is something that makes a difference, whether he was Muslim or quote unquote Catholic. This was important because it's just like he's a Catholic. That's why he went on. That's why he went on. He knifed 3 little girls to death because he was on a Catholic crusade. Is that what you're saying, Colin Liddell? Jeez. So anyway, this was important because there was more residual anti-Muslim, I think he means Muslim, feeling in the UK than anti-black feeling. A black person stabbing white people is generally not considered an occasion for rioting. Really? Really? I think that anybody who is shown to be of immigrant extraction, in this case it was the son of immigrants from Rwanda, 17-year-old son of people who were brought over from Rwanda, that's enough of a connection to mass immigration, which even Colin admits is happening, and people aren't happy about. People don't want it. People don't want it in Great Britain. They don't want it in the United States. They don't want it anywhere in the West, but it's still being pursued because it's something that the powers that be just want to make happen. So often it is framed as payback for slavery, colonialism, etc. So he's saying, in fact, working class Brits appear to love black people unduly due to football, rap music, sneakers, and possibly interracial porn videos. The kind of contempt that Colin Liddell shows for the working class whites of Great Britain here. I mean, this is a guy, I've said this before, he is full of spite. He is a spiteful man. And here he is saying that They love it. Working class whites in Great Britain love it when black people stab little white girls. Black people from uh, of foreign extraction stab little white girls. That's no big deal to them. But by miscasting the Southport stabber as a Muslim, it was much easier to kick off riots. Bullshit. Which is exactly. I mean, it's what happened, but it happened after the truth was known. I mean, everybody, the legacy media types all dwelt on, oh, there's so much there's misinformation out there. Low information British people have zero understanding of places like Rwanda. What a snob. Jeez. In recent days, the BBC, now Colin Liddell is just panting after the BBC, the buggering broadcasting corporation, the ones who were the very corporation which let a notorious pedophile who molested hundreds of children become the biggest star in the land when they all knew who he really was. It's demonstrably true that they basically let him get away with buggering kids for years and years and years, for decades. This is the group that Colin Liddell is saying, oh, let's follow the BBC. They're on the case. They tracked the misidentification down to a fake news network called Channel 3 Now. It was claimed he was a recent asylum seeker, blah, 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 blah. Although the baby, and then he has to admit, although the BBC was unable to find a direct link to the Russian state, okay, period, end of story. There's no evidence that Russia was behind spreading this rumor. None. But they do have they had a Channel 3 Now has a YouTube channel that was formerly a Russian language channel focused on car rallies. Just because the quote representative for the site told the CBC, just because we purchased a YouTube channel from a Russian seller doesn't mean we have any affiliations. Right. And that's true. But Colin's not having it. This looks like a stupid slip-up, to be honest. But the excuse offered, namely that the Russian connection is just a weird coincidence, is not entirely implausible. Okay, so what do you... Pick a lane, Colin, and stay there. Either what he said there was a stupid slip-up, or maybe it's right. Maybe there is no affiliation. Not necessarily a smoking gun. Not a smoking gun. Comes straight out of the Kremlin playbook. Okay. Pro-Kremlin Telegram channel. Okay, this is reported by the BBC article, in which Colin Liddell repeats here as if it's gospel. The BBC. Colin BBC Liddell. Colin neoliberal neoliberal backer Liddell. Colin deep state butt kisser Liddell. Although I found no evidence to back up these claims, Russian links, pro-Kremlin Telegram channels did reshare and amplify the site's false post. This is a tactic they often use. I mean, this is what they say. This is a tactic they use, or it's out of the Kremlin playbook. Right. Well, just take your word for it, because you're eminently trustworthy, BBC. Mainstream media. Sure, you'll tell the truth. So, Channel 3 story was immediately laundered, quote unquote, trying to make it sound scandalous. Many of these accounts have a track record of posting disinformation about subjects such as the pandemic, vaccines, and climate change. Again, Colin Liddell is kissing the ass of people who think that all of the pandemic, all of the bullshit surrounding the pandemic was justified, and stuff surrounding that thing, that's just misinformation that people, people are just dying left and right, and much higher rates than ever before. But it's just misinformation that thing had anything to do with it. And climate change? Colin Liddell says he's in favor of supporting supporting the state, the demonstrable fraud that is called quote unquote climate change. All right, and then he says the site is made to the site by its owner Elon Musk, who is himself extremely sympathetic to Vladimir Putin. I mean, I did an article. It was a joke article about a year and a half ago that I published on my Substack page, where I talked about how Colin Liddell was going to take over as the new MSNBC host that Rachel Maddow was retiring, and Colin Liddell was going to be the new host because of his newfound neoliberal sympathies. Actually, enthusiasms is more like. But you see, he's repeating all the stuff that they say, the mainstream media crapola that they say about Elon Musk being in bed with the Russians, about the stupid British working class whites who were demonstrating about 3 little girls getting stabbed by a Rwandan guy who shouldn't have been there in the first place, and he's saying, they're just stupid, they're just credulous, and they were just led along by the nose by the Kremlin and by Vladimir Putin. Okay, it goes on and on. It goes on like this more. You can read the article for yourself if you want. So the person who first posted the false name of the Southport attacker said she was horrified by the attack, but deleted her post as soon as she realized it was false. Why on earth would I make up something like that? I have nothing to gain and everything to lose. Yes, why indeed. It's not like there are any attention whores or Russian shills on Twitter these days. LOL. All right, so, and listen, look at this. Mrs. Spotsworth, or Spotworth, Ms. Spotworth, had previously shared posts raising questions about lockdown. Oh, no! Scandalous. And net zero climate change measures. No. Colin Liddell and who's that little girl? How dare you? They both said, how dare you? So allegations she was promoting misinformation about the Baj and the scamdemic. So what the long and short of it here is in this article, Liddell is critical of the white working class who said, we've had enough, we're not taking this shit anymore, we're taking to the streets, we've had enough of this of two-tier policing. To Liddell, they're just a bunch of idiots who were just led around the nose, who the only reason they ever took to the streets at all was because they thought it was a Muslim. It appears that Musk is enabling, and he's going after all the targets. I mean, he's going after Elon Musk. He's going after people who shared misinformation online. He's pantingly quoting from a BBC article talking about people sharing misinformation online. Now they're probably allied with the Kremlin. Riddle me this, everybody. I know we all have short memories around here, but when when the ridiculousness happened in 2020, it's not like Russia was like, we're not gonna lock down. It's not like Russia didn't participate in all that bullshit themselves. So this whole idea that people who fought against the smelly little orthodoxies of the 2020 scamdemic, it's not like that was the Russian line on the scamdemic. They had their, I mean, they forced lockdowns, and they made people take their own version of the Bosch. So anyway, and then there's stuff about Tommy Robinson, well known for his links to Russia. All right. So anyway, Colin Liddell. I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. I'm speechless after that. Daniel Barge. He can't even write under his own name. Just own it, Colin. We all know you wrote this article. Just own it.